Good evening to Lottie Dottie, everybody. This is Tim Davis coming to you guys from the Bullish Bears team. Today is Wednesday, March the 15th, 2017. This video is going to be a very quick tips video on buy-sell signals. Learning how to establish a good buy-sell signal. Okay, so very quick. Just want to point out a couple things. Somebody asked me earlier today, about establishing a good buy-sell signal and saying that's what they were struggling with. Okay, first thing I want to point out is that I use moving averages lines, exponential moving averages lines. I use a 20-day, 50-day, 100-day, and a 200-day. These lines will also act as support resistance. Okay, keep that in mind. You can also add a couple extra support resistance lines if you need leaving a little more assistance establishing support resistance areas. Okay, with that in mind, I want to point out a couple things on the daily chart, the weekly chart, and the daily chart, weekly chart, and the monthly chart. Okay, so for instance, let's say for some reason I wanted to trade AMD. First thing I want to know is, does it have good momentum? In other words, if I'm trading it because I believe it's going to go higher and I want to get into the stock in a bullish fashion, I want to first of all trade it. I want to see if it has momentum. So in other words, momentum, I want to see if this stock has a pattern of going higher over time. If I plan on trading it for several days, weeks, or months at a time. This is for long-term trading, not for day trading. So for long-term trading, I just want to see if it has a pattern of going higher on my daily, weekly, and monthly charts. My daily chart is pretty much going to be used for my entry point. Okay, but I also want to make sure that it's establishing a trend, an upward trend. And as you can see here, overall, even though it has these pullbacks, it's still trending higher. It's staying above my 200 and my 100-day moving averages lines. Staying above them. It's not falling too far. And it fell so far within this time frame, it touched the 100-day moving average and continued to bounce and go higher. Okay, so is it trending higher overall? Yes, it is. From June of last year, went from $4.07 up to where we are now, March, up to $14.68. So it's still trending higher. Okay. So now what I want to do is I want to look at my weekly and my monthly charts and see if they also show momentum. So let's look at the weekly chart over the past 3 years and see if this stock is showing momentum on the longer term charts as well, which means it's trending higher overall. And as you can see on the weekly charts, it's also in a strong uptrend. So that's another good sign in order for you to be trying to trade this stock long term, days, weeks, and months at a time in an uptrending fashion. The weekly chart shows strong momentum. It's in the upper fashion. It's trading above the 20-day moving average line. Has not fell below it in a very long time. Okay, so that's strong momentum. Let's even get stronger. Let's see if the monthly charts also agree with this momentum. And as you can see on the monthly charts, it's in the overbought area. On a monthly, which is not bad. I mean, if you head in an overbought area, it's good. That's the greatest point, to be heading into it and get into the stock before we get up in this overbought area. But it's up there. It can stay in this overbought area for quite some time. So, but as you can see, momentum is strong and trended upward even on a monthly chart. The 20-day moving average line hasn't even caught up with the 200-day yet to cross it. So that's going to be a key factor to pay attention to, because sometimes this 20-day can get up to this 200-day and turn and bounce and go lower. So that's one thing you want to pay attention to also on your monthly chart. But as you can see, it's trending higher, has not fell below the monthly, below the 20-day moving average line since it started its trend higher, and it's been trending higher. So now you know that you got a strong upward trend. So now let's go back to the daily and maybe even the hourly to look for an entry point. So a good buy signal, I'm going to go all the way up this chart and show you good buy signal. This is a daily chart over the past 9 months. Okay. It's trading above this 20-day moving average line. So what I'm looking for is bounces. If I see bounces on this 20-day, when I touch it and it goes higher, if it surpasses one of the previous highs, then I know it could be a good buy signal. Also, even if it just touches it and I see a first green candle going up, I would take a chance of getting in. And even if I didn't surpass this previous high, what I would do is, if I was to get in it down here and it starts to rise, my first level that I'm going to be paying attention to, in case it bounces and reverses and goes back the other way and falls through the moving average lines, we'll be looking at previous resistance where stock price has gotten to before. If price starts to rise, if I get in down here, when it touches the 20-day moving average line, my ultimate goal is I don't want it to drop below the 20-day moving average line. I wanted to bounce and go higher. So it did that. Next thing I'm watching for is where price went at before, which is 467. I want to see if I can surpass that. If I surpass that, I'll stay in it. If I don't surpass it, then I'm going to start to monitor, like put myself in a hold position. If I get to that point and bounce back and fall through the 20-day moving average line, that would be a sell signal. Got it? Buy signals when I touch it and bounce to go up. Sell signals is about if I reverse and come down and fall through it. So you bounced up, started to fall. Now, what you can do, if you don't want to give any of this profit, if you don't want to come back here and touch this line and give any of this profits back, you can look and see where previous resistance was on previous charts. In other words, as it's going up, you want to establish, once you pass these two and you can't see any more history, then you're going to have to, unfortunately, go back to your even your monthly chart, because I don't think the weekly chart showed any action below that $4 and something exchange. Let's see. So he was at 467. We was around 471. I think that's where we were. Let me look at it again. So that's another good thing to mark and see where you at once you change screens. If you have multiple screens, it's easy to do this and determine your area of support resistance. So we're at the bottom of this chart. We decided to get in right down here, which is at 430. We know that our next area of resistance is going to be at 467. So if we get in 430, we want to see what's beyond 467 that we can look at as a point of resistance. Okay, so we want to look at what's beyond 467 that we can use as a point of resistance. So if you put that weekly back in here, go back a few years. So we're looking at a resistance point beyond $4.67. And you have one, which is 471, but that's real close to that one. So I would push it up to the next level. So the next level would be where this green candlestick meets this red. I would draw. You can draw like a line there, or right at the tip of your red candle where it actually reverses went the other way. Okay. So resistance to me is going to be right at this level, right around here. Let me draw a line so you can see that. So that next level of resistance will be right around, boom, right there. So you can go up to about, and as you can see, it's actually touching the top of your 200-day moving average line. About $5.25. I like to cut it shorter this one just a little bit, so say about $5.30. So if we go back to the other chart, which was our daily chart, go back to the daily chart. We can draw a line at about $5.30, which is where we'll probably run into some resistance at. So, let's see, back here, here. So we would probably, if we get in here, we're probably gonna start running into some resistance right around that area right there, which is what happened. So you actually trickled up to these 2 days were up days, went to a red day, went to a green day. So what I would actually start doing is start looking around here. I probably wouldn't get out exactly. I will monitor the situation and see if we can get above this resistance level and stay above it. So if you see, we broke it 3 days in a row and then we fell big time. Then the next day came, it was a green candle, which when we tested it, but we continue to fall. So now you can do one of two things. Either you can take your profits from this 430 up to this 550 area, take your dollar profit, or you can stay in it if you plan on staying in it for the long haul and just watch how far price drops. What you're looking at this point. This 20-day moving average is going to be your point of support. This is your point of resistance right now. So if you make it up to this price point and you bounce back and you don't want to get out, okay, as long as you stay above this 20-day moving average line, you're not going to fall back down to 430, which is what price did. It stayed at that moving average line, bounced up, hit that resistance area again, bounced down, hit your support line again, and you're still not dropping below these previous lows. As long as you're not getting lower lows, then you're still in an upward trend. And eventually it bounces up and clears this area big time. So then it starts to ride this 20-day moving average line. You bounce up, you pull back. As long as you keep pulling back to this 20-day moving average line, you're good for the stock to continue to go higher. Now, once you bounce up and you break this 20-day moving average line, that's a big sell signal. I would sell and take profits at that point. So as long as I'm riding this line and I don't break it, I broke it here, I would sell. If I was to come back and test it, then I would, keep an eye on that and see if I go higher. But if I, sell it here and just watch and see what price does, you can always get back in if it decides to test it and go through it. But you don't want to be, in it still and it starts to drop and it drops through a couple more lines. So this would have been my sell signal to get out right there. So I still would have netted me a nice profit. I would have got in down here about 430, hopped out around about $7. Hey, that's still a $3 profit over a couple months or so. So that's not bad. Then what you're looking for if you want to get back into, you believe the stock, it has a long-term uptrend, you want to start watching these lines. It passes through the 20-day, passes through the 50-day, gets to the 100-day, and look what it does. It stops, takes a bounce. What you don't want to see, it stop, take a bounce up to this 50, then bounce back down to the 100 and continue to go down. What you're looking for is it to bounce here and pass back through the area that you just broke. If it passes back through this 50 and this 20-day moving average line while they're tight together, this could be another buy signal. Buy here. And then what you're looking for then is you got the 50 and the 20-day moving average line. Since they're so tight together, both of them are going to act as your point of resistance. Of support. Actually, all three, because you touched it here. So if you plan on staying in it for the long haul, you don't want to see price drop back below this 100-day line now, because that's where you got in at, wherever you got in at. So if you got in here, or even if you got in here, you ride up, you test the lines, it broke it here, went higher. Okay, you can try to sell here if you like, but you can also test these lines again. Went through the 20 and the 50-day, you can decide to sell here, or you can decide to test the next line. Me personally, I probably would test the next line because they're so close together. Went up, tested it here, went back up, tested it here again, and then we went higher. So as you can see, I'm just using these moving average lines as my point of support resistance and buy and sell signals. Went up to this point, came back down, came over, broke through my 20-day, I probably would decide, if I see it drop so far, you can either decide to take profits here, or you can decide to wait until it tests this next line. It's totally up to you. So you can sell here, or you could have sold here, and then you could have bought again here or here to ride this next wave up. You touch the line, you can sell here, or you can wait and see if you're going to get a bounce. I'll wait till I see if I'm going to bounce. Get a bounce and go higher up to 1555. Now, if you want to take profits at these high points, what you got to be able to figure out is where the next level of resistance is. If you've already been here at 1242, bounce down here and you go up, you know that if you pass 1242, you have no more history here to look at to see what your next level of resistance is. So you will have to go back to the weekly or the monthly chart to find out what's your next area of resistance past $12.42. Okay, because you can decide to get out at the resistance level if you don't want to get back those profits. Okay, I hope that was enough explanation to help you understand some of the good buy and sell signals. Use these areas, these moving average lines as a good area of support and resistance. You're rising up, you touch it, it's a good buy signal to go higher. If it breaks through it, that's a good sell signal. Okay, and if for some reason that you continue to go higher past a previous point that's on your chart and you don't know where it's going to go at next, then that means you have to go to a previous, to a longer term chart. You have to go to the next longer term chart to find out when your next area of resistance will be. I hope that was a good explanation as far as a good tips on buy and sell signals. Later on, I'll probably do another video to show you some other things that you can add along with that to help you secure your decision, like some technical analysis tools that I use to also help provide me additional forms of signals that help go along with my support, my resistance. Okay, till next time, have a blessed and awesome evening, everyone.